5 telepathic signs. The real reason this person is always in your head. When a particular soul refuses to leave your mental space. Perhaps you've experienced this strange phenomenon. Your schedule stays packed. Countless faces cross your path. Days turn into weeks, yet one specific individual continuously resurfaces in your awareness. You never consciously summon them. Remembering them isn't deliberate. Actually, you might actively resist these thoughts. Still, without warning, during ordinary activities, preparing meals, commuting somewhere, attempting rest, their presence materializes. Their identity reverberates, their essence reappears. The most puzzling aspect? Nothing feels manufactured. Everything seems instinctive, practically reflexive, like your consciousness is acknowledging something invisible. Common wisdom suggests this occurs due to emotional dependency, past experiences, or behavioral conditioning. However, what if that explanation misses the mark? What if this persistent mental bridge isn't originating within you, but flowing toward you from them? This discussion will illuminate something rarely understood by most individuals. Certain telepathic indicators exist, unseen emotional transmissions that clarify why one particular person occupies your headspace perpetually. After identifying these indicators, you'll grasp the authentic reason driving this enigmatic bond. Remain engaged through this entire exploration because one indicator will strike a profound chord within you. When recognition arrives, sudden clarity will follow. Indicator number 1. Their image surfaces during mundane intervals, never during heightened emotion. Notice this first telepathic indicator closely because it carries significance. This individual doesn't cross your mind exclusively during vulnerable states. They materialize during unremarkable moments. You're tranquil, you're balanced. Loneliness doesn't grip you, melancholy hasn't touched you. Then abruptly their form enters your awareness. Zero catalyst exists. No logical explanation presents itself. No memory serves as foundation. This distinction matters tremendously because thoughts stemming from personal emotions typically display recognizable sequences: isolation, grief, yearning, craving. Yet this particular thought defies that sequence. It manifests unexpectedly. Perhaps this thought isn't actually beginning with you. Numerous psychologists alongside metaphysical investigators concur on something crucial. Powerful emotional frequencies can transmit unconsciously between individuals sharing profound connections. Whenever someone contemplates you deeply, whenever they mentally revisit shared experiences, whenever their emotional attention fixates upon you, their consciousness broadcasts wavelengths. Should your emotional wavelength align with theirs, your unconscious mind captures it. That moment explains their sudden appearance within your thoughts. This transcends fantasy. This represents mental synchronization. This individual perpetually inhabits your headspace because you remain dynamically present within theirs, and that connection persists unbroken. Indicator number 2. Unexplained emotional shifts mirror their internal state. Pay close attention here. Have you experienced abrupt mood alterations lacking clear origins? Unexpected weight, unexpected peace, unexpected sorrow, unexpected comfort. Later, upon reflection, that emotion seems tethered to them. Coincidence doesn't explain this occurrence. When two souls maintain emotional entanglement across extended periods through affection, suffering, attachment, or incomplete feelings, their emotional perimeters dissolve. You start experiencing what they experience regardless of physical separation, particularly if you exchanged vulnerable dialogues, extended mutual emotional trust, left important words unspoken, or the relationship concluded without proper resolution. Should this individual currently be wrestling internally, longing for you, considering reconnection yet restraining themselves, Your awareness detects it before rational understanding catches up. That explains why they suddenly penetrate your consciousness, not as explicit cognition, but as sensation. Your consciousness attempts translating that sensation, and their image materializes accordingly. They don't merely occupy your thoughts, they inhabit your energetic atmosphere. Indicator number 3. Inexplicable magnetism lingers long after separation. Time supposedly mends all wounds. Separation supposedly diminishes connections. Silence supposedly erases sentiment. Nevertheless, regarding this individual, that magnetic force never completely vanishes. Reunion might not be your desire. Communication may have ceased entirely, yet something internally remains linked. This represents among the most compelling telepathic indicators because genuine attachment diminishes across time, whereas energetic ties don't dissolve readily, especially when the connection carried intensity. The conclusion felt incomplete, or one party retains unprocessed emotions. This individual potentially maintains emotional attachment toward you, despite outward appearances, despite projecting strength, despite seemingly progressing externally. Their subconscious continuously draws upon your energy, and your consciousness responds by introducing them into your awareness. That clarifies their mental residence, not reflecting your fragility, but confirming the bond's continued activation. Indicator number 4. Dreams feature them, or pre-sleep contemplation centers on them. Consciousness reveals its deepest realities during quietude. Before sleep arrives, throughout dream sequences, within moments of profound stillness, telepathic connections achieve maximum strength. Should this person emerge in your dreams or occupy your thoughts immediately before sleeping, it signals subconscious dialogue. When logical processing deactivates, emotional processing awakens. That's when buried thoughts ascend. Concealed connections emerge. Unfinished emotional exchanges proceed. If they contemplate you before sleeping, if they miss you silently, if they mentally replay shared moments at night, your subconscious intercepts that transmission, and you encounter them mentally despite lacking verbal communication. This explains why the connection feels so authentic, because during nighttime, consciousness cannot deceive. Indicator number 5. Anticipation of their contact exists without supporting evidence. This remains the most frequently misconstrued indicator. You suddenly sense they're going to contact me. They're considering reaching out. They desire expressing something. Occasionally, you're accurate. However, even when it doesn't materialize immediately, that sensation doesn't register as inaccurate. Telepathic perception doesn't invariably forecast behavior. It detects intent. This individual may genuinely want reconnection, but faces obstacles. Pride creates barriers. Fear creates barriers. Situations create barriers. Nevertheless, intention remains energetic. Intention alone suffices for establishing mental connection. That explains their persistent mental presence. The authentic explanation for their constant mental occupation. Listen carefully now. This represents the reality most never comprehend. This individual doesn't continuously occupy your headspace because moving forward proves impossible. They inhabit your awareness because something between you remains unresolved. Not necessarily romantic relationship continuation, not necessarily physical reunion, but an emotional narrative that hasn't completely concluded. Sometimes the purpose involves healing, comprehension, personal development, or discovering how to consciously release. Until that understanding completes itself, consciousness keeps circling back toward the origin. Closing guidance. Your appropriate response now. Resist fighting the thought. Avoid self-judgment and don't interpret it as personal weakness. Instead, question yourself. What lesson is this connection attempting to deliver? Once you comprehend that lesson, Once clarity emerges, consciousness naturally releases whatever no longer serves necessity. When that transformation occurs, if the connection should persist, it will. If conclusion is destined, it will conclude harmoniously. Regardless of outcome, you reclaim your authority. Before you leave, show your support by hitting that like button for Psychology Wisdom. Should you feel drawn toward exploring hidden dimensions of human psychology and emotional truth, make certain to subscribe and activate notifications so you never miss insights that might transform your entire perspective on connection and consciousness.